Anzac Day, one of the most important days on the Australian and New Zealand calendars. But why? Well, 108 years ago, on April 25th, 1915, around 16,000 Australian and New Zealand soldiers landed at what later became known to be as Anzac Cove, as part of a campaign to assist the Allied forces in taking the Gallipoli Peninsula. Unfortunately, the campaign was a major military failure, as around 12,000 brave soldiers lost their lives in combat in Gallipoli alone. Despite this tragedy, these soldiers' brave sacrifices laid the foundations for the Anzac legend, where the characteristics of bravery, mateship and respect would become synonymous with them and will be forever. 1 year after the landing in 1916, the first Anzac Day commemorations began in both nations, as a sign of respect for our fallen heroes, and have stood the test of time ever since. It is a day commemorated with several different customs which do it justice. These include the always special dawn services, laying wreaths on gravestones, some good old-fashioned games of two-up, and of course sitting down and watching some Anzac Day rugby league. The NRL commemorates the Anzacs and their spirit by having a round in their honour every year, and this year will be no different. Welcome to my exclusive preview of the 2023 Anzac round in the NRL.
And we're down.
On Thursday night, to kick off the round at 7:50pm, it's the Battle of the Big Guns, with the high-flying South Sydney Rabbitohs hosting the defending premiers, the Penrith Panthers, at Accor Stadium. The Panthers have won the last 5 clashes between these clubs, so the Bunnies will have their work cut out. Latrell Mitchell and Cam Murray will go up against Dylan Edwards and Isaiah Yeo. These matchups will prove to be very critical. Then Friday takes us to the tropical city of Darwin up north, where at 8pm, the Parramatta Eels, coming off back-to-back wins for the first time this year, will host this year's Flyers in the Brisbane Broncos. Since Mitch Moses signed that new deal for his club, he's been in terrific form, as has Broncos fullback, the young Reece Walsh. Then on the first stop of 2 on Saturday, the depleted Canterbury Bulldogs host the back-in-form Cronulla Sharks. Addo Carr, Kikau and now Karaz are just some of the stars on the sidelines for the Dogs. They still have Marnie and Burton though, so they won't make it easy. However, on the other side, the Sharks will be brimming with confidence after their gutsy last up win against the Sydney Roosters. With Nicho Hynes back firing after his new contract, they look to be on the rise again in 2023. Following that, at 7:30pm, Townsville plays host for the game between the struggling North Queensland Cowboys and the battle-hardened Newcastle Knights. The Cowboys are 2-5 this year and haven't had that game that yet kicks them back into last year's form. Can this week be it? The likes of Scott Drinkwater and Chad Townsend will have their work cut out against players like new golden boy Lockie Miller and the returning Kalen Ponga. The following day, we travel down to Suncorp Stadium for a Queensland derby, where the Dolphins play the Gold Coast Titans at 2pm. Both sides are coming off big losses last week, so they'll be itching to flip the script. The Hammer vs Jaden Campbell will be a clash that even neutrals will want to witness. Next up, and finally on Sunday, we travel to Campbelltown Sports Stadium, where at 4:05pm, the West Tigers will be looking to finally get their first win of the season against last up winners, my high-flying Manly Sea Eagles. Can DCE's side get a first win away from home this season, or will the Tigers give their fans something to cheer for this year? Then after a break on Monday, Anzac Day arrives on Tuesday, and it plays host to the 2 iconic matches. At 4pm, the patchy Sydney Roosters will host the under-fire St George Illawarra Dragons at the new Allianz Stadium. Both sides are coming off back-to-back losses, so they'll be desperate for a win. The Dragons won the corresponding clash last year 14 points to 12, so they'll be looking for a repeat of that performance. James Tedesco v Tyrell Sloan and Talatau Amone v Joey Manu will definitely be the battles to keep both eyes on. And then finally, the second iconic game takes us down south to Melbourne for what could be the game of the round. At 7pm, the Melbourne Storm, coming off a brutal last week loss in Manly, will face the high-flying third-place New Zealand Warriors at AAMI Park. The Warriors will be out to avenge their absolute shocker in the corresponding clash last year, where they lost 70 points to 10 and conceded over 50 points in the second half. The likes of Jerome Hughes and Harry Grant will have their work cut out against Sean Johnson and Wade Egan, where the former has turned back the clock this year.
And that's my preview of the 2023 Anzac Round in the NRL. It's one of the most anticipated of the season, and this year it'll be better than ever.